All right, today I read the Green Lantern, Volume 3, number 15 from 1991, and wow, I'm getting some flashbacks of my own life reading this. It's Mosaic Part 2 of 4. Now, I did not read the previous issues, so at first it was a bit confusing. I also found out that who I thought was Jeff Johns is actually Gerald Johns, so if I made any previous comments like, oh, this is written by Jeff Johns, I'm so happy to read a Jeff Johns comics because it says J. Johns on some of the covers, I now know, so if you guys want to make that comment. So this one is called Structures. What the heck? My cat's just jumped and went. All right, don't know what that was about. All right, so Gerald Johns is the writer. If we want to talk about the cover art looks fine. I mean, I'd give it a B or C. Actually a B for the structure of the body. That looks really fantastic. Other than that, I mean, it's kind of just somebody shooting somebody from the back. So they do give a little bit of more details right here. So maybe a B. And again, a C is average, so don't think that a B is a bad grade. I know if you're like me, you want to get straight A's. Wow, Game Boy. This definitely, I love the ads because it definitely gives me a framework of when I was talking about here. So this is called Structures. Right at the beginning, there's aliens fighting humans, and I assumed it was on Earth, but as I read on, I found out this is actually on some other planet. And I think the word Mosaic is talking about how this planet is a patchwork of different cultures or humans and aliens living on the same planet, because this race right here and the humans are fighting each other, and it's kind of exploring the idea between people can either get along or not get along. And I thought when they were talking about building a wall, I was like, wait a minute, this is like the Trump wall? Is that what they're trying to say? Yeah, I don't think so. Not 1991. So there's some fighting going on, and then she sees that alien on fire. While Green Lantern is, John Stewart is trying to stop them from fighting, he's having to do some things that they don't understand, like he's using their water to put out the fires, because all this time the yellow weapons and stuff, Green Lantern can't expose the fact that yellow is a weakness to his ring, and it's also keeping him from doing what he needs to do. So he's doing things to demolish and contain the fire, and the humans, they're not understanding it. She's trying to defend an alien that's down. She doesn't want him to be hurt, even though obviously they're fighting. She's like, no, like you can't kill a man when he's down. And Green Lantern, he intervenes. It looks like he erects a wall by somehow they're going under the earth and shooting the land up between the two cities for now, the alien city and the human cities, which is a lot more of a human city than these people sound like. They sound like they're much more from like farming communities is what they're talking about in some of this. And there's some good back and forth exchange here, and I don't understand this part, except evidently we had a lot of race tension. I know we had race tension back in the 90s, but it says, you listen to Streisand? And why should not? I'm going, wait, is she... okay, see, I'm looking at it from a 2025 perspective, and I'm going, is she implying he's gay? I'm like, because, if you listen to Streisand nowadays, it's kind of not at all whether or not you're white or black. But I had to keep on reading, like going, wait a minute, is John Stewart gay? Am I missing something here? No, it's not that. It's just that it's his exploding it to his, back in the 60s, I saw this, and black issues, and yada, yada, yada. I'm going, okay, all right. So I had to put myself back in the framework of 1991. I do remember going to the flea market and seeing t-shirts, and I was always kind of disgusted by them, and it was one of the t-shirts that just made me feel like, man, we're never going to get past this if we can't learn to accept one another and let the healing begin. It was about, the shirt said, it's a black thing, you wouldn't understand. I'm like, oh, so if I wouldn't understand, then I can't possibly move past this hurdle, is what you're telling me, since I just can't understand. I just got to accept the fact that, no, I don't accept it. I don't accept that you think that I can't understand. I believe that we can move past this and we can let the healing begin. Well, anyway, there was some, like I said, racial tension back then. I try to remember, when did the verdict come out? No, that was actually later. The verdict about... No, I'm thinking of two different things here. I'm thinking of the verdict about, that was around 1990. When was that? Around 95 was the O.J. Simpson thing. But there was something before that. It happened in L.A. oh, was it Rodney King? This may have been right after it, and it's, spilling over into the comics, because comics have a way of dealing with social issues. Now, in this situation, again, this is still back in 1991, so they weren't making all the readers feel bad. They actually were coming to a consensus during it. I feel like when I'm reading modern comics, it's like, no, there's no consensus. It's my way and it's not your way. Back then, there is some consensus, because maybe they can't come to eye on the issue, but they can at least bury the hatchet for now. And that's not exactly what happens here. It's just that he realizes, maybe I've overreacted. Maybe you didn't mean what I thought you meant. Because sometimes we just got to, look, calm down, take a deep breath, and realize maybe she'd make an assumption that because you're black, you can't listen to Barbra Streisand. But that's not the way I took it at first, because I'm not in the 1991 anymore. But I feel like maybe she did. But hey, until we talk it out, we're never going to understand. It's like DC Talk said, talk it out. DC Talk is all about. We're never going to get past it if we don't talk it out and at least understand. And then they have a meeting in the church, and of course they go over to her house, and there's something about a communicator with her and Tomari. And she talks to, or they use the communicator to talk to Tomari. Here's Tomaru. I think that's his little brother or sister or something. I can't tell. And this guy right here, he is a shifty dude. He's not very much likable. He's going to be the main villain of this whole thing, I can tell, even though he seems to be just diabolical. He doesn't, he does have motivation to it, so I'll show you that in a minute. So evidently he's trying to lure them into some country. I can't quite get this part. He's talking to them about, what we want to talk to you about is Green Lantern. I am proud to discuss Green Lantern. And he's talking back and forth through a communicator. And it says, what if I told you that he is conspiring with aliens against mankind? Why, I'd say you're quite mad. Thought you might. No, Tomar. Don't waste your breath. And so anyway, she cuts off the communication to him, which I guess makes him want to come over there. While she's doing that, Green Lantern's ring evidently can communicate to people and go into their brains. I know in a previous comic, and I need to get all these comics in real back to back. That is my goal, to get all of Green Lantern Volume 3 and piece all these pieces together in my brain. But he's communicating to him, and this guy right here is part of some hive mind. That's the way their race works, and they're just built to expand. So he's just thinking about that, and he's going through thoughts in his head. And then there's that guy again. So he's like, yeah, don't you understand? They're talking about the two kids that got killed during this whole thing, and I don't know. Again, I haven't read this issue, the previous issues. He said he believed in peace, in communication. He trusted, and look what it got him. You knew that boy? You didn't you? Yeah, I knew him. He was my son. So he's going through a grieving process, and he's wanting to basically get revenge on all aliens, I guess, because here they come to, let's talk with them. We're going to meet our neighbors, and he's having a premonition of what's happening, whether this is happening or he's seeing into a slightly future. I hope he's not seeing what's happening, but I guess what to find out in the next episode. Next, the Mosaic explodes. So I'm jumping into the middle of a storyline. Oh, this is some good stuff right here. These are good old days of video games. I had the Atari Lynx. It wasn't the best, unfortunately. I really wanted it to be. I remember the Bill and Ted. It was so confusing. That game was just really weird. It was like, you kept on shooting your, and I may be thinking of the Game Gear version. I don't know. Anyway, so, Mosaic Part 2 of 4. So I need to obviously catch one. I need comic book number 14. Somebody send all these issues to me so I can read them in order. So I'm trying to piece it together. I got 24, 26, 27, 28. And I did read one of the issues around this because it's a continuation of, I think it's, look at these, in 29. So I'm trying to get all of them together, but I can't just sit and wait. I have to read these. They're so good. So many good stories. Well, so the story is good. There is a few pieces of confusion, but you got to remember when it was written, what was going on at the time. And that's one of the things I like. It helps me remember some things in the past that I've kind of forgotten, because to go forward, sometimes we have to look at the past. And that doesn't mean we need to dwell on the past, but we need to also see where we've been to see where we're going. All right, well, anyway, let me know if you've read this before, if you can fill any of the blanks in until I can get number 14. I'm trying, so come on. Comics, Cheap Comic Collector, and Aaron, and whoever else, help me build this collection. Because I definitely would love to read more. All right, have a great day. Thanks for watching.